My children, I am Rayel. I am your king, and I am your lord.
I am your
And
lord.
I have arrived.
Lord.
As
I have
promised.
arrived. As promised.
To reclaim.
Okay, you can stop it now, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, he's like
Dr.
trying to do
Bowen.
Hamlet or something.
It is now your time to ask us questions, and to further
Ask us
explain
Now,
where this accent is
there's
coming
something
from.
interesting. Something I should mention about that video, though, or at least the accent. William Scoggins has made a follow-up response as to why he sounds like that. Would you like to hear why?
Drugs?
I would love to hear why, sir.
Now, this is not my opinion. This is what he said in his sermon, which I happened to be interested in at the time. He said that before when he was Jesus, he reincarnated into someone else before he became Raymond Elwood. That someone else was King Arthur, apparently. So he was King Arthur.
Yep,
yes,
makes
and
a lot of
now,
sense
and then basically he went from Jesus to King Arthur to Raymond, and then he said when he became Raymond, the past life regression had an effect on his accent.
Totally
That's
legit.
the explanation.
Yep, I guess.
This makes total sense to me, sir. I'm just going to talk like this for the rest of the episode.
So that's his explanation.
Okay, but please tell me that someone took the opportunity to use this and ask him how the hell he got Excalibur out of the rock.
Now here's the interesting thing, though. When he did that response, this is something that they usually do, but they didn't do it for this one. They always throw Torah codes at us, but they didn't give us a King Arthur Torah code. That would have been a lovely thing to see, but they did not give us that.
It does exist. What's a Torah code?
Well, that's actually how I originally found Raymond Elwood when I was witnessing. The Torah code is basically...
Let's hold off on that then, because I'm sure Dr. Bowen has that kind of mapped in his line of questioning. So I don't want to get ahead of him.
I got. Just remember, strange women lying in ponds, distributing swords, no basis for a system of government.
Executive power is mandated by the masses, not some from vast aquatic ceremony.
Can't we all just talk like English people for the rest of this episode? I think it'd be such a good time. No? Okay. Carry on, Dr. Bowen, carry on.
So I suppose, given that so let me ask you, just so that we're all on the same page here, where are you now, Michael? I mean, you've said that you came in initially, and I remember watching you do it, because I was there in the chat, or in the, whatever it is, it's a VK group.
Oh yeah.
And I remember watching you do it. So you came in full force, and I remember Angelus Domini, what I consider probably to be very, very high up in this group, blocking you at one point because of what you were saying.
Oh yeah.
And I remember thinking, well, good on you, because this is that you're bringing up excellent points. And then the next day, you joined. So can you tell me about that? Tell us about that. Like, what was it?
Yes. So I'll explain that.
Yeah.
Well, you see, there was something about the Congregation of Rayel I knew it was a complete lie. I knew it was a cult. And I was throwing them all my questions. I know the scriptures, but they cannot refute anything that I've given them. So I've given them at least 100 questions, and they respond, "Oh, we're working on these questions. We're going to give you the answers." Months have gone by. No answers. The Christ, I've donated some money to him, but just so I can throw a question at him to see, because at the PayPal link you can add a comment. I was like, let's see here. If I throw money at him and add a question to the comment, will he respond then? No response. So basically, no response from the so-called Christ. Basically, I was going to leave, but I just felt like I wasn't done with them yet. But moreover, I felt like I wasn't done with convincing myself that everything that they were believing was a lie. I felt like there was some truth there, so I decided to stick around to figure out what it was. because when I initially came in, I believed that everything that they were teaching was a lie. And as I was researching, because they're like, research us, prove us wrong. And I'm like, challenge accepted, we'll do. I'm going to do it. And I realized that some of the things that they were teaching was correct, which I thought was wrong. I found out was actually right. But turns out some things. Jesus' name, his name is not actually Jesus. According to the Hebraic Mater Lectionis, the official Mothers of Tongue reading of how you pronounce his name, it's actually Yeshua. But, there's debates about this, but sure. I can show you, I can get into that a little bit later. But that was just one of those things that I found out was true. And it would have taken 10 congregations and 10 pastors to convince me that his name wasn't Jesus. I basically had to do the research on my own to find that out.
Well, I don't think the letter J even existed when they wrote the Bible. Isn't that correct, Dr. Bowen?
That's correct, yeah.
Sure.
And tell us, Dr. Bowen, so that, because I'm curious myself, how big is this organization? Like, how many people follow Lord Rayel, and where are they coming from? How does he get followers?
That's tough. I'm not sure. So their VK group is what, Michael, about 90?
90
but if you go to their Facebook group, okay.
It's large.
But I mean, I'm assuming that's like the core group, but Facebook seems to have, I'm not a big Facebook person, but it seemed like they had many, many more followers, but I don't know, maybe you have more of an inside scoop on that than I do.
Not entirely, because I don't use Facebook that much myself. And I think what they're doing is whenever they post to Facebook, it gets sent automatically to their VK somehow.
I think this is important to stress, Dr. Can you kind of tell everyone what the lady did that joined that up and sold everything? They get rid of their earthly possession. Talk a little bit about that so that people know, the level at which people are committed.
Yeah. So maybe this is important, just as a general understanding. So, what they're doing is they're taking what many would consider to be just fundamental mainstream Christianity, to some degree, and adding this Mesopotamian religion to it and connecting the two. So if you listen to what they say, it sounds like, so there are a lot of times it actually sounds very mainstream. But of course, they believe that there's a man named Richard Ruff. Richard Ruff found out of late that he is actually Enki, revivified, one of the three gods of the top senior gods of the pantheon, Sumerian pantheon. There are apparently other deities that haven't let us know who they are yet. And one of the primary messages is that Lord Rayel, Enlil, is getting ready to bring judgment. And that judgment is coming in the form of the aliens in their spaceships who are out at the outer rim of our solar system, who are essentially ready to fire whenever Lord Rayel gives the command.
I think they did when he spoke. His voice is the weapon, right?
That's complicated. There are videos about this. I'm getting this all from the videos that they have posted. Lord Rayel can think certain things and make things happen. So it's actually very physical in that sense, like material. There's some natural explanation for what he's doing. But they adhere to this idea that these ancient aliens, the Anunnaki, were the gods. Just in that sense, they're very much in line with Sitchin. And those gods are waiting at the outer rim of our solar system, ready to. Nibiru is going to come eventually come close, and in other words, judgment is coming. Right, Lord Rayel is bringing judgment upon America in particular, right? The Babylon, the Great Babylon, the harlot. Right. So he has called for an exodus, and I can't. It was sometime maybe in the last year or so. I'm not sure. Can't remember. But called for an exodus of all believers from America, and they traveled down to Baja. And there are videos about this.
An exodus to Baja.
Woman,
That's a vacation, not an exodus. Well,
maybe now. Initially, Kelly Patrick seems to be a very genuine person. If anybody is duped, I think that she is. I think that she genuinely believes this. But she has videos where she's talking herself. And, she had a landscaping business out west. It was apparently fairly successful. And when Lord Rayel said, time to go, Exodus, she had to sell it. And they moved down to essentially a compound where there was no running water. They're lighting fires outside to cook things. I mean, it was apparently, pretty bad for at least a little while. And of course, it appears from the videos that things have gotten better of late. But, so Michael, maybe you could talk a little bit about that because I remember you talking about how, maybe you were going to go get ready to go to Baja. So maybe you could talk about that or what motivated that, what maybe changed your mind, if you wouldn't mind talking about that.
So I remember my mind set at the time. I did pray some prayers because I was still, even though I had left my previous congregation and entered a new one, which was Lord Rayel's congregation, I was still in the Christian mode. I still felt like I still needed to pray for everything, for guidance. So I was thinking or praying, hey, if he's the Christ, please let me know. Please, God, let me know he's the Christ. Send me a sign like you usually do. And so I thought I received some sort of sign. I was reading one of their documents, and I found out apparently Raymond's name, or Rayel, has to do with, what was it, Amen-Ra. Like it's Amen-Ra is a derivation of it somehow. And I thought
I knew Amen-Ra was involved.
Amen-Ra is a god among men, so
I knew it.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. It kind of struck me that could have been a derivation, and that was only 30 minutes after the prayer, because not even days before, I was going to start a new diet called the Amen-Ra diet, or basically it was called the Amen diet, but the doctor that founded it, his name was Amen-Ra. So I thought that was a sign. So I was like, I guess you're the
Amen-Ra diet? I'm just curious.
Top ramen. A lot of top ramen.
Is it? Please tell me it's ramen noodles.
No. We're talking about Egyptian Amen-Ra, not ramen.
Oh.
Amen, like amen.
Got it.
So basically, I thought that was a sign. So I was like, okay, I guess you're the Christ. So I guess I gotta start thinking about packing.
I would take that as a sign. Yeah.
So, I'm thinking about packing, but I'm still skeptical. I was like, Christ, I don't think that's good enough. Are you sure? Is he really it? Is he the one? So I was like, I need more confirmation.
It's funny that you keep saying Christ when in referencing if you're trying to figure out if this guy's really Jesus or not.
I have to use the word Christ because I'm not sure if Rayel is the actual Christ. So I'm like, okay, I can't use actual names now.
That's what makes it, totally.
I can't say Jesus because I just learned that was wrong. Yeshua, I'm not comfortable enough with that name yet. So, and Rayel just sounds weird. So I just
go with the last name. It's fine. Last name's fine.
So eventually, after 2 weeks, I was almost going to make my final decision until someone decided to slip in the congregation. Someone decided to make a prophecy. His name was Michael something. They're like, oh, we got to make that exodus now. It's going to happen. There's going to be an asteroid that's going to strike very soon. It's going to be in like September 18th or 17th, like that. It's going to strike. If you're not out of America by then, you're dead. Something like that. He didn't say it in those exact terms, but he alluded to